Do you ever find yourself endlessly scrolling online? Well, it's something most of us are guilty of, and there is a name for it. The term doom scrolling first became popular in 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic. It means spending an excessive amount of time reading news or watching videos that make you feel sad, anxious, or stressed. We, of course, believe in the importance of being informed, but experts say there is a limit to how much upsetting news you can take. For advice on how you can cope with doom-scrolling anxiety, we have Dr. Sha'iri Turner live with us now. She is the Chief Health Officer at Crisis Text Line, which is a leading nonprofit that provides free 24/7 confidential mental health support via text message for any crisis. Dr. Turner, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Can you explain in greater detail what exactly doom scrolling is and why you feel it's important for the Crisis Text Line to address this now?
Yes, your definition was perfect. It's when we spend an excessive amount of time reading or consuming these large quantities of particularly negative news, either digitally on the internet or in our social media feed. And for Crisis Text Line, we know that when you consume large quantities of negative news, it can cause stress and anxiety. And at Crisis Text Line, we supported over 1.3 million conversations in 2023. And our insights revealed that stress and anxiety were the leading topics for our texters. So we know people, especially young people, are struggling, and we're here to help.
So what are your best tips on how to manage your mental health if you become overwhelmed by scrolling through news and social media, and also how to recognize it?
Yes. So three key tips. Number one, set your boundaries. So set an amount of time that you will consume the news. Know the best time of day for you to consume it. Avoid that late night scrolling and take breaks, especially if there are traumatic stories cycling. Number two, listen to your body. If you're having headaches, abdominal pain, feeling fatigued, sad, or anxious, recognize that that is your body telling you that it is too much and it's time to take a break. And lastly, reach out for support. You don't have to go through hard things alone. Reach out to a friend, a family member, your therapist, and you can also always reach out to Crisis Text Line by texting hello or hola to 741-741.
How important is self-care when you're navigating through such an overload of information, especially when it can be really nasty? And it's not just information, sometimes it's just reading people's comments. I mean, how important is it to recognize, but then do what you said, seek that self-care, indulge in self-care?
Yes, and it's not really even an indulgence, it's a necessity right now. I think it's more important than ever. And we have to protect our mind in whatever way works for us individually. So if you can take a break and get away and walking or reading or listening to music, talking with friends, connecting with others, all of those things are great ways to care for our mind and body and ensure that we're able to make it through these very challenging times.
I have two, they're older now, kids, both are in college, but what can parents do if they suspect their child or teenager is, consumed by doom scrolling?
Reach out to them, give them these tips, and make sure that they have Crisis Text Line plugged into their phone, saved into their phone, 741-741, so that when you as a parent are not with them, they know they have a place to go for in-the-moment support in English or in Spanish.
So also talk to them so they're aware of what they might be doing too, I would imagine. Okay, and finally, let's flip it here on a positive note. How can you integrate social media into your life in a positive way?
It's really about being aware of what's coming to you and curating it and making sure that you're clicking on links that are positive, so that the algorithm brings you more positive things, and to just make sure that as parents especially, we understand that young people need to have guidance and some boundaries around their use of social media, because there's a lot out there, and you never really know when you're going to run into something negative.
And it can be really insidious too. I've even noticed that. I've actually put on, limits for my social media exposure where my phone just says, you've had enough for the day. So, there's that too. All right, Dr. Sha'iri Turner, thank you so much for being with us. Such an important topic really nowadays, especially with, people being really truly glued to their phones so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
For free help, text HELLO to 741-741 to connect with a volunteer crisis counselor.